for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network.
All right. Good evening. How you doing? It's Fade to Black. Yeah, and today is Tuesday, December 23rd, 2025. Let's do this, man. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Merry Christmas, everyone. Yeah, Merry Christmas. Here we go. And just in time for Christmas, we've got a storm rolling in right now. And it already hit Northern California. It is here in Southern California, and it is going to rain. They're talking about all the normal stuff, floods, this, that, apocalyptic, biggest storm of the year and all that stuff. We're expecting 5 to 10 inches of rain over the next 2 to 3 days, and it's going to last through Christmas all the way into Friday morning. So, and the possibility of snow in the mountains, if it gets cold enough, that's going to be cool. We may have a semi-white Christmas, but there you go. I really appreciate the seasons, right? I live in the desert. We've got rain on Christmas. Good enough for me. All right. So we had a short week this week on Fade to Black. Monday night, I had a Christmas party. Tonight, we have Dave Schrader here for a very Dave Christmas. And then, of course, tomorrow night and Thursday night, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, we are off air. Going to be out there wearing my Santa hat and visiting friends and family and doing my thing. Tonight, I'm wearing my Harley Davidson Santa long sleeve shirt, right? It's got Santa on the arms and snow and sleighs, powered by Harley Davidson, I might add, that I'm going to be wearing. I'm going to go out and do my gift stuff. And yeah, it's going to be great. So enjoy and just make sure it's merry. Have a great, safe, fun, and Merry Christmas. And let's get the show going. I'm excited. Dave Schrader is here. My next event coming up is the Conscious Life Expo, February 20th through the 23rd, 2026 at the LAX Hilton. Tickets, information, everything that you need to know are below. This will be my 10th, 11th year, I think, hosting this event, which is the largest conference of its kind in the world. We have somewhere between 20 and 25,000 attendees. It's a lot of fun. It's big. It's great. Every subject that you want to investigate or go and get some knowledge on is covered there. What is amazing when you have 100 or 200 speakers like they do, you get choices, and sometimes they conflict. Do I do this and this, or both at the same time? They're both great. What do I do? It's good to have to make a decision like that, and you'll be doing that a lot at the Conscious Life Expo. So tickets and schedule and speakers and everything are below on our website and throughout social media. Just go to consciouslifeexpo.com. All right, let's get to it. I'm excited. Dave Schrader is here. It is a very Dave Christmas tonight. Yeah, because Dave's got a gift that keeps on giving now, and we're going to be talking about that tonight. He has got so much investigation behind him, and what I enjoy, not only his success, but we are friends, and I love to see a friend just do well. And he does well because people resonate with him. And I've been following Dave for a long time. We worked together for 5 or 6 years over at Coast to Coast, maybe 7 years over at Coast to Coast. I've been a guest on his show. He's been a guest on this show many times. And what I really enjoy is not only the paranormal side of Dave, but everything else that comes along with it, including the true crime stuff that he has covered over the years. It always keeps my attention. It's about high strangeness with Dave Schrader for sure. But now he's the co-owner of the Palmer House Hotel, one of America's most haunted locations. That's right. Dave has got it going on. So we're going to talk about that. That's the gift that keeps on giving for Dave Schrader. That and so much more. I'd like to welcome back to Fade to Black, the one and only, my good friend, Dave Schrader. He's right there. Dave, happy holidays, my man.
Happy holidays to you and all of your lovely Fader nuts. Thanks for having me on.
You're the best, man. You're the best. Are you guys all set up? Are you guys set up? Are you guys festive at the house?
No. We're not right now, actually, because I'm moving from where I live up to Sauk Center, Minnesota, where the hotel is. So it's been a lot of sporadic back and forth, but I just got a Christmas tree. We're popping it up after the show tonight so that it's ready for tomorrow when all the kids come over, open the gifts, and then we're probably heading back to the Palmer House on Christmas morning.
When do you make the big move?
It's been a slow progression. Winnie, my wife, is living up there and running it. I, of course, will be popping in and out and doing as much as I can while I can, but I'm still going to be on the road doing what I do and investigating and going to lectures and presentations and all kinds of fun events.
Well, we'll get to all of that.
Mm-hmm.
It is Christmas, and I'm sure you guys have snow, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Minnesota.
Yeah, Minnesota. We don't. We've got rain coming in, but it is the holiday season, and I wanted to ask you a strange question. Okay, what is your merriest Christmas memory? Do you have one that stands out?
I always had one that was kind of my favorite. I think it's adjusted a little bit this year just because sadly my father passed away on the 4th of July this year, suddenly, unexpectedly, but exactly as he would have wanted to go, like a thief in the night. He went to bed and just never woke up. So
sorry to hear that.
Yeah. But again, that's the way we should all go. We should all be that lucky, right?
Yep.
So I think thinking about this last few days, really it's the culmination of little things from many Christmases. I was the kid that was probably polar opposite of most. You couldn't get me up in the morning to open up presents. My parents would, they'd be waking up at 5 o'clock, checking their watches, waiting for me. They were early risers. And about 7 o'clock, finally, my dad would come grab me and carry me upstairs and set me in front of the Christmas tree. And then mom would put a gift in my lap and start tearing the paper for me. And I'd start coming to, and then, be awake for the whole thing. And my dad would start singing Elvis's Blue Christmas, and then he'd put the album on and we just have a great time. So it's little moments like that, and the moments of playing cards together and just the laughter and the love that we all shared. So that this year is really kind of what I remember is just, this is the first year as a human being on this planet that I'm walking it without one of my parents. So it's a very weird time, but I'm so blessed to have had them for such a long period of my life. And I'm lucky because I'm a father. I've got 11 kids, 10 grandkids. And yeah, so I get to continue to live on and hopefully create memories with them like my father and mother created with me.
I can't even digest that statement. I can't 11 kids.
Yeah, and only 3 of them have reproduced. So out of 3, I've got 10 grandchildren already. So,
oh man, my daughter Nicole, she's 30. She's grown up to be just a beautiful, wonderful, smart, accomplished woman. She's amazing. What's your favorite Christmas memory? Wait, we'll get to that in a second. It's about her, actually.
Excellent.
But here's the thing. Kids, my grandchild, my right as a human being, my right as a parent, we have fundamental rights. And one of them is to have grandkids. I don't even, and I mentioned it to honey, okay, quit farting around. Okay. let's get the, and I, and bless her, she's happy. I don't know. I would put words in her mouth if I said something about this because we really haven't talked. I've thrown her the hints, but she hasn't come back with anything. So I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know.
There are days I'm so excited to have that many children, and then there's those days that I'm very Jimmy Stewart in It's a Wonderful Life, walking around going, why did we decide to have all these kids anyway? So it just depends on the time of year and the day.
So my favorite isn't from my childhood. My merriest Christmas memory was when I became a father. And Nicole's mom, Kathy, my wife at the time, we got divorced right after Nicole was born. So I was a single dad. And when I say right after, it was like when she was 6 months old, we got a divorce. And so I was a legit single dad. Anyway, I couldn't wait to whip out the Christmas, right? And just get it all, for her. The Charlie Brown Christmas to Rudolph and all of that stuff to who Santa was and the Christmas tree and decorating it and putting the stockings on the fireplace and doing all of that stuff. And it was amazing. And to watch the wonder on her face. But so 3 years go by and I'm batting 1,000, man. It's just all great. Every Christmas morning she's coming out. And so she's 3. She's getting smart and she's observed. So anyway, Christmas morning, we unwrap all the gifts and she's playing and the stockings are still stuffed and they're on the fireplace. I said, oh, we forgot about the stockings. And she looks at the fireplace, she looks at the stockings and she looks at me and she goes, Dad, how does Santa get down the fireplace? Right? Just like that. And I went, this is the moment I've been waiting for. It's happened. It's happened. I get to, and no, honey, it's magic. Santa's magical. And okay. She wasn't buying what I was selling. You know what I mean? But I kept it going for another year or two. But it was really funny. She's looking at the fireplace. She's looking at me, looking at the fire. Dad. And that's my favorite Christmas memory, man. And
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Once that
I got a tear in my
child
eye.
AI comes to life and you get to watch the moment.
Oh man. Watching her run out into the living room or come into my bedroom, right? Santa came. Oh, he did. Yeah, there's stuff under the tree, and I'm running out. I'm like, this is what it's about, and wow. Now I want to do it with grandkids. How long were you able to keep it up with your kids?
Keep what up, Jimmy?
Santa.
What do you mean? How long?
Okay, I love you, man. That's Dave Schrader right there.
He comes every year to my house. I don't know what you're talking about.
They're running around right now, church. Shut up. So
But I will tell you real quickly, since we're talking fantastical creatures, I had a great moment with my son when he was probably about 4 or 5 years old. And when it was right around the age he starts losing teeth. And I went to pick him up from his mom's to come to my house for the weekend. And he was sitting there with his arms folded across his chest, just looking really mad at the world, more mad than a kid should look. Right. And I go, what's wrong, buddy? And he goes, so I lost a tooth. And I said, okay. And he goes, yeah. So I took it home and I put it in a plastic baggie like we do, because the tooth fairy doesn't want to be fishing around for just this little nugget, this little tooth. You put it in a plastic bag so she can find it, because if she finds it, she leaves money, right? If she can't find it, she's out the door. She's got a lot of houses to hit. So he said, I put it in my plastic bag and I put it under my pillow. And I couldn't fall asleep. I was so excited, Dad. And I'm like, wow, that's great. And he goes, no. Then I heard somebody coming. So I closed my eyes, but I was peeking. And it was my stepdad. And I said, oh, well, what happened next? He goes, he crept into my room, Dad, and then he reached under my pillow, and then he left. And I said, oh, jig's up, right? And I go, what does that make you feel? And he goes, it makes me mad. And I go, why are you so mad? And he goes, because I think he's getting more for my teeth, and he's only leaving me $1. So my son thought there was some big black market tooth cartel going on out there, and his stepdad was like Tony Soprano and figuring out his way of getting his cut.
So Dave Schrader is going to be at Sir Laughs a Lot in Minneapolis all week. Great comedy club. And you're opening for Bill Burr, right?
I don't know. We'd be a little friction, I think, between the two of us. One cynical, angry guy and one jolly, fat old man. So
yeah, Bill Burr, I think, has a heart of gold.
Yeah.
He has figured out a way to carve his path in a very difficult thing, which is the world of comedy. I think, and you build when a comedian hits the stage and does their thing, are we seeing them or are we seeing an act? And there are some comedians where you're not seeing an act. Like Dave Chappelle, I think that's Dave, right? I think that's Dave when he wakes up. That's Dave. Bill, I hope it's an act.
I don't think it is, brother. I think Bill Burr is Bill Burr.
Oh man, he makes me laugh, man. Bill Burr makes me laugh for real. But yeah, there's something else that I want to ask you about. This is a paranormal question about Christmas.
Okay.
The origins of Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
The origins. There are many different versions of it.
Mm-hmm.
And the world stops for this month, and we seem to be friendlier and nicer, and it's a great time, and the lights and it's just it's just festive and it's so cool. But what are the origins of Christmas? Is it a religious thing? You know, Mary, Joseph, the manger, Jerusalem, the three wise men, and gold, frankincense, and myrrh, and following the star in the sky. Is it that? Is it something that came later? Is it a pagan thing? Is it a commercialized thing since the Industrial Revolution? When you look at it yourself as an adult, where do you think the origins of Christmas are?
See, I think that's what's so beautiful about it. It's like loving the paranormal. There's no one right answer. And the fact is that there are so many things that tie together. Obviously, it's based on many different belief systems and the time of year and the solstice. And then you've got the story of the birth of Christ, which obviously I think they said he's probably born more like in May or June, but they've just adapted to this kind of overtake of what used to be a pagan holiday.
Mm-hmm.
But again, there's been a lot of misrepresentation or misunderstanding to a lot of the things that were done. So I think it's just become a really beautiful time of year that all of the belief systems can coexist and we all find something that brings us together. And really what it is love, family, and joy. And you can get past all the rest and everybody saying, oh, it's materialistic and it's commercialized. Everything is. But the way it makes you feel and the way it makes you feel when you're with your family. I've been on those Christmases when I've only been able to get a couple of gifts for the kids under the tree. And I've been lucky enough to be there for those Christmases when I have a whole bunch of gifts under the tree. And it really isn't just about the gift giving. It's about those moments of watching the kids come together and laugh and play and not fight for 2 hours while we're opening presents and getting along and smiling and laughter. So to me, I think there's a lot of different elements to what Christmas is and what it means now. And that's why I don't necessarily feel like I need to, like with the paranormal, I don't need to define any one thing. I think there's so many subtle variations that it's cool to, instead of just focusing on one thing, stepping back and looking at the magic of all of it working together.
I was watching a documentary. I watched a few actually over the last week about Christmas, and three different takes, three different views, and then you even have the movie, the documentary Zeitgeist, which I'm sure you've seen. But so I'm looking at these documentaries, and I thought to myself, this: why does it matter? Why does this matter? Why would you put together a documentary to bum people out. Because what if your documentary is religious based and then the people that aren't, right? So now you're creating, or what if you are on the other side of the fence and you're a pagan, whatever, and you're, what does all of that matter? It's a time where I feel good. And everybody else does. The lights on all the houses on my street. I love why do you want to just put a damper on everybody's joy by questioning the history of Christmas? And I just sat back and went, man, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me. And I hope that other people adapt that same mindset. That don't mess with my good time with my family. We want to celebrate it the way we want to celebrate it. And that was my takeaway. Is that a bah humbug way to look at it?
No. I mean, it's like, listen, I've seen this, like Halloween has grown into something epic, like Christmas. People are excited about it. They decorate up for it. They start October 1st and then don't stop until November 15th, right? Because of all Souls Day and everything that kind of flows in between. I think it's really kind of neat that people are seeking reasons to be excited, to find that joy and happiness, and they want to carry it with them much longer. And I think sometimes people lose sight of it and they find their own discomfort and they feel like, I'm not happy and I'm not fulfilled myself. So why is everybody else in this mode? What is getting them there? And I wish, I know it's so cliche to say, I just wish everybody could have that moment of peace. And I know it's tough. This is a tough time of year. It's tough in a lot of ways, right? But that's why things like you were asking about the origins. That's why the Christmas tree became so important. That's why the swags and the wreaths became so important, because those items showed that they could stand the test of time and the elements, the brutal harshness. You were bringing in a piece of magic, something that could withstand the worst winters and still look beautiful and still had something to it. And there was a power to that. And we forget a lot of the reasons that we bring these things in. We lose those moments. And I wish we would teach more of that so that people are reminded of the subtle gestures behind every little nuance that we do for Christmas. And it would get people out of maybe that mindset of feeling so commercialized, and remember that there is something bigger behind these moments. And let's rejoice and enjoy those moments together. I think too, there's, we all get into a dark spot from time to time. And some people choose to let this be the time of year to do it because they think of all of what they've lost. And that's why I love the movie It's a Wonderful Life above any other holiday movie, because I don't know that everybody really captures the beauty of what this is. And it's not just about a desperate man in a desperate moment. It's about seeing the bigger picture and how we can influence and change people's lives without even knowing about it. And when you remove that one element, how everything collapses. All the things you've put in play, love or hate me. I've been in the right place at the right time a lot of times to make people meet. I've been hosting events for 20 years. There's probably been about a dozen people that have gotten married at my events, around my events, met at my events, are having children, now maybe even moving on to grandchildren. And you think, wow, had they not come to Dave's event, those two would not have crossed paths. They wouldn't have met. And it's not like I'm patting myself on the back, but you start to realize that we all have such an important role to play. And if we can get out of the feeling that this is, so much about loss and start thinking about all the amazing things we've gained and start getting out of our head, dealing with the pain and find ways to make other people happy, I think it catches on. I think it's like a virus and you start to feel it in your heart and in your soul. And I've watched people do that for years. We used to do the Darkness Angels, where people, I would vet out 4 or 5 families and throw it out to people and just say, there's no commitment. You don't have to do anything. Or if you want to do something, email me. And I'd talk about a family and they would email me, and then I would send them the family's information and who the children were, what the parents were doing, and sizes, favorite toys, everything. And it was up to that person to decide how much they wanted to help. And I was blown away when the families would send me these pictures of hundreds of presents under their tree from total strangers. So I think that's, if we could start getting more into that mindset year round, man, what a better world this would be.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. There's another thing. I don't want to say preaching. I've been preaching this lately, but because it sounds preachy in that, yeah, darkness and dark memories and dark places and things where they come back for some people during the holiday season and, Thanksgiving Day, whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
And my answer to that is no matter what, those things that went wrong in the past, that was something you learned from.
Right.
Period. And I know it sounds so easy to say and it's worth, no, it's part of the journey. Every time. So this is my mantra now. This is my mantra, Dave. Anytime I've had enough bullshit happen to me in my life, man, crazy bad things. And whenever it, pops into my head and the adrenaline, man, that really, I stop right there and go, it's part of the journey. That's all it was. It was just, that's where I was at that time during my journey, but I'm here today. And that was part of this. And that's my mantra. And I don't allow myself to go into that darkness. It's just part of the journey. And it works for me. And if it works for me, I think just try it, everybody. Just try it once. Don't sulk. Don't get stuck. Don't play the victim. Don't go there. Just go, part of the journey.
You know what I think happens? It builds like a cancer. How many of us lose somebody and we never allow ourselves to fully grieve? And then we lose a job and we never fully grieve. And when we lose a pet, we never fully grieve. And we hold on to so many of these chunks that sometimes they need to come out. And I think we feel weak when we let them out. A lot of people do. And then that's what builds up and stacks up on your shoulders. And that's when you collapse into these depressive modes. It happens to all of us. That's natural. That's human. You're not a bad person if you're dealing with those moments. But I like to try to remember that it's not in those moments that I fall down that defines who Dave Schrader is. It's the moment I stand back up, brush myself off and say, all right, what's next? And I've tried to adopt the plot twist theory. And I find that it helps me out in a lot of ways. When something really throws me off my course, instead of allowing it to completely careen me and crash me, I just say, plot twist. What comes next? There, what was that surprise? Where are we going to, did the butler do it? Let's keep walking down this path and see what happens next. And sometimes that keeps me from falling down the hole. And it isn't always easy, but to me, it's so much better than allowing yourself to find these moments to wallow. But allow yourself to grieve fully. Allow yourself to feel feelings. So many people bottle things up. I can't cry. I'm dad. I'm grandpa. I'm husband. I'm brother. I'm a man of, a figurehead on radio and paranormal. No, I am very much who I am. I get weepy. I did a Christmas show last night for my show, Paranormal 60. And at the end, I got really choked up. And part of it's embarrassing and part of it's but it's human. It's who I am. And I shouldn't be ashamed of the fact that I feel emotional about good things and wanting people to be happy. And I think if we start giving up the sense that we have to hide who we really are and just allow pain to happen, and we gave it a chance to breathe, then we wouldn't always have this anxiety and this jittery feeling inside.
That is, I think that is one of the most difficult things for anybody, including myself, you too, to do is to be yourself. It's like be yourself. It's nuts how difficult that is. So many of us, myself, Dave, you've done it. You're at home, you're Dave. You leave the house, you're now Dave Jr., right? You're somebody else. And it is a freeing thing if you can manage to just be who you are. When you leave the house, you're at a part, you're at this, you're at that, you're in front of your kid, whatever it is, that you're just really honestly just you suddenly feel better instead of trying to pretend and wear a mask. And that's one of the most difficult things, as well as I do, in the world of broadcast. When I was going to school for broadcast, one of my teachers said, you have to be yourself when you're on the radio. I'm like, what does that even mean? Right? It was words of wisdom, right? To be yourself. And so many want to just come on. Any influencer or anybody that's on YouTube right now, or it's so funny to hear them speaking in the same cadence with the same words and the same inflections and the same thing, because they're all trying to outdo each other and be like they're not themselves. And they wonder, why can't I get good at this? Why? It's because people know that you're not being you. The successful people at radio or TV or whatever that do this kind of stuff are the ones that have figured out the biggest mystery of all: how to be yourself. Right? How to be yourself. And it's really funny. This guy wearing a Harley shirt and a Santa hat, and this is the guy that I am. You know what I mean? I don't have to worry. I don't have to worry about putting on a mask before the show, getting into character. And I just start the show, and I get to hang out with a friend and discuss and talk about fun stuff, and get to the end of the night and hang out with a great crowd, and not imitate, not impersonate, not interpolate. Just be yourself. It's the hardest thing, isn't it? When did you figure it out?
I'm still not sure who I am. It changes, right? I mean, there are different. I'm a father. I'm a broadcaster. I'm a TV personality. I'm an author. But I'm painfully shy, believe it or not. I'm an introvert in an extrovert job. So there are elements, like if I go to a conference and there's 2,000 people, I'm fine. I can be that guy. If you bump into me at Walgreens, I'm probably looking at the floor and digging at it with my toe, and I'm uncomfortable because I wasn't in Dave mode. But again, like the holidays, I think we are made up of many different factions of who we are. And as long as we just already accept that, well, this is who I am. I know I'm going to be uncomfortable in these situations. I know this is where my limits are. I know what I can do and what I can't do. And just make the best of the life that I have with the strong points and the weaknesses. And I found that leaning into my weaknesses from time to time when it's really uncomfortable still helps me connect with people that I might have missed before, because it shows that we can be human and we can be vulnerable.
Let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
I've never asked you this before. Have you gone back and listened ever? I haven't, by the way, but have you ever gone back and listened to your first radio performances and go,
sure,
I don't even know that person?
Oh yeah.
Right? You've done that, right?
Yeah.
At what point did you suddenly start to figure it out where you went, oh, I'm doing it wrong. There's an easier way to do this, right? To be myself. Do you remember that?
Yeah. I was probably 2 years in on my show when I began with Darkness Radio. And I was trying very much to be the Art Bell, George Norrie, Dick Cavett. Next question, please. Next question, please. And I liked the conversation, but I felt like I wasn't in it. I was following a roadmap instead of leading the road. And one day I just stopped being the guy trying to be the guy, and I just became who I am. And I just started leaning into the questions and allowing myself to have more fun and being engaged and learning from my mistakes. If there were things that I saw or said that upset people, I learned how to watch that a little bit better. Not that it was disingenuous to who I was, but there are other ways to say things that maybe don't skate that line. So I've always been cognizant of what's going on around me and the people that are tuning in. And I really do want it to feel like a family and a gathering of people that are like-minded, people that, let's face it, in our little world, right? We have the most diverse cast of fans and friends, people that in any other setting probably would never talk to one another. But at night they get together and they're the Fadernauts, and together they can talk about high strangeness and not feel weird or dumb or judged or out of line. And tomorrow they go back to being, Sal, the pencil guy at work, and, JR, the engineer at NASA, and everybody's got a place in their lives and they're doing that. But these are the little moments where all us little oddities can come together, the land of misfit toys, right? And I'm going to keep leaning into the Christmas angle on these. Welcome to the land of misfit toys. And that's so cool to me. I just think, that's part of what our journey has been, is finding ways to tell stories and let people feel like they're along with us for the ride, not just watching a train wreck, if that makes sense.
Yeah. When I started to dial it in and figure it out, how to do radio, I suddenly became relaxed, because especially when I started out doing sports, dude, I would have all these notes and I would have things, I would come prepared, and it was the coldest thing to listen to. And I really thought that I was killing it, and I wasn't. I was doing the opposite. And as soon as I got rid of all of that stuff, notes, show notes, stuff in front of me, I haven't done anything in front of me in 13 years. There is not a piece of paper here, right? I have no notes, and I'm able to just come in and just let it flow. And it was the most freeing thing to get rid of who I was trying to be.
Right.
I was trying to be something that I wasn't, and it was uncomfortable, and I would stumble. So, and it helped me in my personal life as well. I could imagine that a lot of people, when they meet me for the first time, probably go, yeah, you are a dick. That's cool. You're not somebody else. You're not playing one on TV. You just are that. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm not acting. It's not an act. It's not an act. I want to talk about the Palmer House, and
sure.
That's a really, really, congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
Right? It's a really, really, really big deal. Before you tell us about the Palmer House, how did it happen? How did you get into the position to be a hotel owner?
Happens.
Oh, by the way, pull your right shoulder back.
Oh, my.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. There
freaking people out with the blackness around me. Is that his soul trying to leave his body?
It's a poltergeist. Yeah.
Yeah. I was really lucky, at the Palmer House. It came into my world about 19 years ago. I was introduced to it, and I was skeptical. I heard all of these crazy paranormal experiences that would happen, and I went in, and I remember kind of being the dick in my own head about it, and hearing all these claims and trying to keep a straight face and trying to not portray to this woman, Kelly Freeze, who's walking me around, that I think she's probably full of it. And it all changed when we got up to Lucy's room, one of the spirits there, and she said, this is your room for the night, but I do have to warn you, the spirit Lucy here, we believe, used to be maybe a call girl back when it was a brothel, and we believe her life didn't end so well. She's not a big fan of men. And I remember just saying, well, tough for you, Lucy. You get to spend the weekend with me. And the door next to me slammed shut.
There you go.
And I turned, and then I looked at the door, and I looked at Kelly, and she said, welcome to the Palmer. Have fun with that. And from that point forward, the spirits just made themselves known. And I was really entranced by that. It was kind of a cool, magical place. And it's right here in my home state. So I would go visit and do events there. And when I was working with Ghost Adventures behind the scenes, he asked me what would be a cool place out in the Midwest, and I recommended the Palmer House, and they came out here to investigate, and it just blew them away. They loved it and had a great time, and that helped to put it on the map. That really got people aware of it, and more and more events started happening there, and more people had experiences. And I've seen some of the most amazing footage and photographs and electronic voice phenomena. So, and I've been there with large groups of people where we are sitting in a dark room and you can watch somebody walk into the door frame and stand there, and you start talking to that person, trying to get them to either come in and sit down or be quiet, and they don't respond, and you turn your flashlight on and there's nobody there, and everybody's like, so I love that. And it, I'd actually talked to the owner, Kelly, right around the time of the pandemic. And she had said, I'm looking to sell. Would you be interested? And at that point, I was coming off the pandemic, and, I was the sole provider for my family. So I didn't have a whole lot of money after having 9 people under my roof for 2 years, and it just didn't set right at that point. And this last year, when my father passed away, he'd left me some money, and I've been looking for the last 2 years for a haunted location because I'm getting older. I don't want to be on the road 35 weekends a year doing events. And I thought it'd be great if I could have some place of my own that I could just be at, and people could come investigate with me, and I could share the history and share the mysteries. And everything kept falling through. And my buddy Chachi said, Dave, this is the universe telling you when it's your time, it'll be the right time. And then about a month and a half ago, I was talking with Kelly, and she said, she had mentioned that she had it up for sale and it was with a broker. And I started asking questions. She goes, it's with the broker. If you're interested, just contact them. I know there's a few people that are interested, and they're talking to the broker. So I chatted with them, left things alone for a little bit because there was another interested party. And, when nothing progressed on that point, I stepped back in and I made an offer, and we negotiated a little bit. And lo and behold, December 15th, I signed on it. So I've been an owner for a week and a day now. It's pretty exciting. And so that put me in the right place. And I think, I'm lucky that my bio dad is still alive. He didn't raise me, and I didn't know him until 5 years ago, but he came into my life at the right time too. He was a guy that's owned 5 bars, car dealerships. He's been a landlord of multiple rental buildings. And when I told him of my desire to do this, he really kind of motivated me into it. But I was like, well, I don't know if and he said, let me ask you, if you could pick up the phone and your dad was on the other end of that phone, and you said, Dad, the money you left me and the things I've got, I can leverage it and buy my own haunted location. I could do this and curate it and have a legacy for my family. He said, what would he say? And I said, it's before I even got done talking, and be like, yeah, take it. I'm dead. You take the money and do with it what you want. And that would be a cool point. My parents used to love to go to these haunted locations with me and investigate. So it really came together kind of beautifului.
Congratulations. I mean, what a great story. What a great story. And you know what? Your second dad is right about your first dad. That was really good advice. Or no, your first dad was right about your second dad. Man, which way is it?
Well, my first dad didn't know he was my dad until 5 years ago, when we found out through ancestry.com. But he's been a great
Wait, what did you just say?
So
have you told this story?
My mom was a little hippie in the 60s, and she lived near the Great Lakes Naval Base, and she used to go dance with the sailors, and she connected with a couple, and she thought one guy was my dad, and he wanted nothing to do with her when he found out she was pregnant. And so she raised me on her own, and she met my dad, who raised me when I was about 1 year old, and he just became my dad. He took over and stepped into that role beautifully. And then
I can't believe what you just said. All right. Yeah. I don't know if you know this, but you're going to find out right now. We may be brothers.
Really? Well, that would make sense.
My mom used to do the same thing at Great Lakes Naval Station.
Get out of here.
Yeah. She was a bartender and I was born at Great Lakes Naval Station.
Wow. I was born a couple miles away from the Great Lakes Naval Base. So maybe we are, Jimmy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to, are you on ancestry.com? We'll have to connect you with my bio dad.
I thought I thought my mom was a hippie too. And something's feeling really weird right now.
Look, let's do the profile, look at one another and see how much of us
something's-
look alike.
I think I need a swab. I think I need to do a swab. Yeah, that's crazy. My first paranormal memory, or memories, I should say, let's make that plural, all in Waukegan. All of them. All of them. I was on your show,
Mhm.
and I told us the story about me seeing the Hindenburg when I was a kid crossing the street. Do you remember that story? It doesn't
Yeah.
matter if you don't. Okay. So that was at Clearview Elementary School in Waukegan. Yeah, right outside of Great
Wow.
Lakes Naval Station. Yeah, yeah. I was 8 years old. Yeah,
You know what's
crazy.
really weird to me is how many of the people I've met as an adult in the paranormal world, and as we get to know each other, find out how many of us grew up within about 15 to 20 miles of each other.
I'm going to tell you right now, in the last, I can't tell you how many shows I've done where my guest was born in Zion or Crystal Lake or,
Right.
Mundelein.
Right.
And I had somebody on the show 2 weeks ago that went to Libertyville High School. Now, so for the audience, if you don't know, there's Waukegan, right? Great Lakes Naval Station, Lake Michigan, right? The shoreline, Great Lakes Naval Station, Waukegan, and then all these outlying little towns and lakes that are right there. It's crazy, isn't it? How many people are from that area and how much paranormal stuff has gone down in that little part. It's crazy to me.
Well, when we connected and we found out about each other through Ancestry, before he agreed to talk to me on the phone, he kind of researched me on my social media. And then he said, call me. So I called him and we did a FaceTime video. And he said, I got to tell you, son, I'm not surprised at who you are. He said, your great-grandmother or your great-great-grandmother was a famous Scottish gypsy queen. And we all see ghosts, and I read cards. My mom read leaves. So
Wow.
it's genetically built into me, this passion and love for the paranormal. So
yeah,
we'll have to spit in a cup together, Jimmy, and see if there's a little kinship in there.
I mean, I just can't believe you just rattled all that stuff off just right in a row. And it's like you just spoke about my childhood. Really weird. And you and I have known each other for a long time.
Yeah.
And we just found this out of, oh yeah, we're brothers.
we're the new Woody Harrelson and what's his name? All right. I can't think of his name now.
Matthew McConaughey.
They believe they might be brothers as well in a similar situation.
All right. Yeah. So back to the Palmer house.
Uh-huh.
So, man, that was a nice little. I've done segues. You've done segues. That was a good segue right there. That was just like shit. That was pretty good. Is it a hotel that you can book as a guest?
Yeah, it's a fully functioning hotel, restaurant, and pub. So I've got a little cafe, I've got a bar, I've got the hotel. I've been doing events there. Yeah, so you come stay. It's like a little miniature Stanley hotel. A little. And we actually get the creepy snow and the negative 20 degree weather sometimes. So it feels like the Shining Hotel. But
you deserve it, man. You deserve it.
Thank you.
So wait a minute. God, man, I am so peanut butter and jelly right now. I'm so jealous. You've got your own bar. Mm-hmm. So you can walk in. I've always wanted to do that. Walk behind the bar, throw down a shot glass and do it like it's nothing.
That's funny.
You're that guy now.
When I was there, my first day last week as the owner, I was thirsty and I'm so used to being on this side of the bar and there was nobody around. And I'm like, I guess I could just go back.
Right. That's what I'm talking about.
But I went back and I grabbed the gun, which I'd never done, the little soda gun. And I looked around and I'm filling my soda glass, but I feel like the 5-year-old kid finding his dad's Playboy stash. I'm looking at, I'm going to get in trouble for this, aren't I?
Oh man.
Yeah. So it's pretty neat.
And so a bar, that's amazing. I'm going to book a room. I'm going to come out and hang out.
Yeah, come on out, man. We'll have a good time.
I want I want Lucy's room.
Oh yeah.
What's the restaurant like?
It's great. There's a little, it's almost like a 50s looking cafe with the little bar stools at the counter and then the table set up. And then the other side of the building has got the bar and pubs. So it's really neat. And then the hotel's got the main staircase up the middle. And then we've got, I think, 21 total rooms in the hotel.
Wow. Living your best life, my man.
Yeah. Yeah,
wow.
It's about time, right? I'm getting to that age. I'm almost at middle age, Jimmy. I just turned 58. I'm almost at middle age, so I'm trying to find my way. So when I grow up, I'm ready for it.
I have these same thoughts. I don't know. I'm glad you did it.
Mm-hmm.
I could, if I wanted to, pull the trigger on something. And where I live in Palmdale, I mean, I've kind of had my eyes on a couple of things here and there. It's like, should I do this? Should I do that? And I'm thinking, do I want to do that? Or do I just want to continue to enjoy life the way that I'm enjoying it right now? You know, traveling and doing that instead of getting, but if I was 10 years younger, I would do exactly what you're doing. That sounds just amazing. And it's a generational thing, you know, your kids are going to have it and, you know, and it's just, you know, and are you going to rename it, by the way?
No, the Palmer House has been there for October 17th, 2026. It will be standing for 125 years.
It hasn't stopped our president from renaming shit.
No, I'm more grounded in reality. And I know that the Palmer House is much more famous than I'll ever be. So I plan on keeping it as is, just doing some cosmetic touch-ups. And
I've got an idea.
Mm-hmm.
The Dave Schrader and Palmer House.
No, I really think it doesn't work. You know what? It's very much like The Shining. I feel like I've always been the caretaker, and it's just my turn to step into the role. So you and I were talking before the show about the Brady Bunch and the Partridge Family, and this is my Johnny Bravo moment. I'm stepping in because the outfit fits right now. And I get to be Johnny Bravo for a while, and then I'll pass it on to the next Johnny Bravo, and that'll be the way it rolls.
What's the haunted room? What's Lucy's room number?
17, I believe. I'm horrible at all the numbers. I just know where they are in the building. The basement's crazy. The basement, I've had some of the most remarkable experiences. Raymond's room, which is directly across the hall from Lucy's room. We've caught amazing SLS camera video footage. We've caught audio. We've caught EVP. It's really been pretty astounding. And I've had people, you know, from all walks of life that go in and they love this place and they feel like it's a second home to them, even though they're sometimes very unnerved by the amount of activity that takes place. But the basement's crazy. The ghosts know no boundaries. They can go where they want to, and they do.
Can you smoke in the bar?
No, you cannot. It's Minnesota. We don't allow smoking indoors.
Wait, you guys are indoors 8 months of the year. How can you outlaw that?
I don't know. You just you have to do like
it doesn't make any sense. Jesse Ventura wouldn't have passed that law.
That's been in place for a long time now. But yeah, I'll tell you, we don't allow no smoking, Jimmy.
What comes to mind first when you speak about the Palmer Hotel in its paranormal sense? I know when you think about owning the hotel, something sticks out. What is that?
As corny as it sounds, it just feels like home. It has for 19 years. Once I was introduced to it, it's a place that brings me in. And what's really neat is during the 19 years, I've celebrated my children's birthdays there and other parties that, you know, they're like, Dad, for my birthday, it wasn't, let's go bowling, let's go roller skating, let's have a princess party. It was, can we take my friends ghost hunting? Okay. All their parents have to be on board, and yeah, okay, we'll go up there. And then we'd do some investigating. And I don't feel there's anything dark or malevolent or evil there. There's some fun, weird ghosts. There are ghosts who definitely want you to know they're there. And there are others that are very playful.
And I'm looking at, okay, hold on for a second.
And if people look up thepalmerhouse.com, they'll find my website and the Palmer House Hotel information there.
Man, that place is haunted as
heck. Yeah.
get out.
Yeah. And Sinclair Lewis, the Nobel Prize laureate and an author, worked there at one point in his life. He lived there in town. As a matter of fact, on the back of our building, we've got a beautiful mural of Sinclair Lewis. And it's just a great piece of history, man. It's like walking back into Mayberry. And I really hope people will come out to see the haunting of the Palmer House, but stay just because it's a beautiful environment to be in. And it's a great little community, and there's all kinds of fun stuff to do. There's the little old movie theater down the road, and there's thrift shops and holistic and metaphysical shops. And we've got a couple of cool old cemeteries, including the one where Sinclair Lewis is buried.
That is the most haunted thing. I'm going to pop this up for everybody so they can see it. And you don't mind, do you?
No, please feel free.
Okay. All right. Let's do this. Everybody just stay with me on this so I can get this up really quick.
And I'll mention this, that if people are interested in coming out to the hotel, 320-351-9100. If you book a Friday and Saturday night stay, I'll throw Thursday night in for free. So that way you can come in, relax Thursday night, and then have Friday and Saturday to yourself. You don't feel rushed. And yep, that's my hotel.
God, congratulations, man.
Thank you
for buying.
And you know, it's good in paranormal because it's blurry.
It's just creepy, man.
She's not right. She's beautiful. She's a great.
Oh, I'm looking at the interior shots.
Yep.
It's beautiful. Look at the ceilings, man. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable.
So what is this? Okay, hold on. I'm going to pop this image
all right
here as well. Only because I am just okay. This is everybody stay with me. As you can tell, Dave and I were prepared for this moment.
Not at all.
Okay.
And 125 years. And the original building, the Sauk Center House, was the first hotel in town. The Palmer House Hotel is the first building to have electricity and lights. So people used to come in there just to watch people turn the lights on and off. That's our lobby.
Look at that, man.
Yeah. And you're getting a view from the stairway looking down into the lobby.
Oh, man. I got to tell you, I hope you walk in. I hope you have the cocky walk.
No, I don't do the strut. I know I'm not the star there. It's the building and the spirit of the Palmer of the star. I'm just the lucky guy that gets to live there and take care of it.
So is there action every night? I mean, do you just like kick it?
At the hotel, Jimmy, there's always action.
Oh man, you're already doing it, aren't you? You're already doing it. No, you know what I mean? You know, footsteps or whatever. You and I were talking about, you know, my friend's condo growing up. I've never even told that story on the air. Is it like that?
You'll hear things moving around. It's not every night. I mean, but I haven't been there every night, so I can't even attest to that. But out of 19 years, going 3 to 4 times a year, I've probably maybe 4 times busted and not had anything happen. But somebody else will come up and say, oh my God, something just knocked on my door, and I opened the door and there was nobody there. So just because I didn't have something happen didn't mean somebody else didn't.
So is that part of, I'm sure it is, to have your own Darkness Dave events there where people can go and book the rooms, and then you'll do a tour for the weekend. And
as a matter of fact, in May, I'll be there with Shane Pittman and Cindy Kaza from the Holzer Files. Sure. And we'll be doing an event, and you can get information about that at darknessevents.com. I think we only have about 12 tickets left for that event. And then we've got events all throughout the year, and a bunch of my favorite paranormal TV show celebrities will be popping in. And I know the Tennessee Wraith Chasers have a couple of events that are booked there. Chris Fleming's going to come out at one point this year, the psychic medium. Sarah Lemos is going to be out there, the medium. From Ghost Town Terror and Ghost of Morgan City. She was just on a recent episode of Ghost Adventures. So I've got a lot of my paranormal friends who are going to come out and help me spread the word about the Palmer House and show people just how amazing it is and why people should be visiting.
If I was doing an investigation with you guys, you know who I'm not walking next to?
Who's that?
Shane Pittman. That guy's always something nuts goes on.
I think it's his chaotic energy. He's so nervous all the time.
What's up with Shane, man? He's a magnet for that stuff. He must be a lot of fun to be around.
He really is. Yeah, he's great. And his energy feeds the environment. So it's pretty fun. Yeah, he's a good guy. He's my little brother.
I was, oddly enough, I was talking about Shane a couple of nights ago. It's weird that we're bringing him up right now. We were talking about just that when you go back to those TV shows and it was always Shane downstairs or in another room and, a gun safe falls out of the wall and lands on him, whatever, it's just like Shane always had he's carrying a magnet for the paranormal.
Yeah. And I think it's because the spirits know he's not in there challenging. He's not being disrespectful. He's got that nervous energy. So I think they have some fun with him. I always say that as a ghost, that's what I will be. I'll be the guy that's, I'm not evil. I'm not a demon. I'm just an asshole. That'll be the ghost that you'll be bumping into. I'll be the one making you afraid something dark is happening. And it's just Dave.
I love it. I love it. Dave, stay right there. We're going to take our break. Dave Schrader is our guest. Tonight, Merry Christmas, everyone. Tonight, it's a very Dave Christmas here on Fade to Black. Dave, stay right there. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. We'll be right back after this short break. Stay with us. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to get your alerts and access to over 2,000 videos. Click that subscribe button now. Go to jimmychurchradio.com and get the Fade to Black official podcast. 2,000 episodes, all of them commercial free for just $2 a month. I am hosting, and presenting once again for the Conscious Life Expo, the largest conference of its type in the world. February 20th through the 23rd, 2026 at the LAX Hilton. Speakers, event, and schedule easy. Just visit ConsciousLifeExpo.com. I will be hosting and speaking at the Sedona Ascension Retreat, March 20th through the 22nd, 2026 in Sedona, Arizona. An amazing list of speakers, and it's beautiful Sedona. Come and hang out with us and just go to SedonaAscensionRetreats.com. I'm heading back to the Midwest for the Contact Modalities Expo, May 1st through the 3rd, 2026, in Delavan, Wisconsin, at the Lake Resort. It is beautiful. This is a great conference right in the heart of the Midwest, where I'm from. I'll see you there. Just go to Contact Modalities Expo. That's XPO.com. I will be hosting and presenting once again at Contact in the Desert. That's May 28th through June 1st, 2026, the largest UFO conference in the world. Come and hang out with us June 23rd through July 1st. Tickets and everything else that you need is at contactinthedesert.com. Want to change your life? Want that paradigm shift? Then visit Peru with Brian Forrester and myself for the Inca Celebration of the Sun, June 23rd through July 1st, 2026. A full 10 days of visiting the country, all of the amazing sights, and of course, the celebration of the winter solstice. It's all simple to do. Go to hiddenincatours.com. Come join us for the Monty Python Scotland Tour, August 1st through the 9th, 2026. This is a once-in-a-lifetime event where you get to go to the castles from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. August 1st through the 9th, 2026. Just visit HaleyARamsey.com. Watch Into the Vortex on Gaia TV. It's fade to black for the screen. Simple to do. Go to Gaia.com, search Jimmy Church, or click on the link below. Follow Fade to Black on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Get all of the show updates every single day. It's now called X, but who cares? Go to JimmyChurchRadio.com and become a Fadernaut. Get a membership. That's right. Everything is commercial free. You have access to downloads, and you get to call yourself a Fadernaut.
Jimmy Church, Gaia TV, Fade to Black, here at Machu Picchu with Brian Forster and Hidden Inca Tours. Amazing tour so far, Brian, but we're here to announce what we're going to do next year in 2026. What's going on?
Okay, November 2026, we're going to have our major tour of Peru and Bolivia, either a pre or post tour of Paracas and Nazca on the coast. And then after that, 6 days in Easter Island.
Bucket list, Easter Island. Come join Brian and I and his amazing team here at Hidden Inca Tours for Peru, Bolivia, and Easter Island. Signing out. Say goodbye, Brian.
Bye, gang.
River Moon Coffee, makers of the Fade to Black blend. Truly the best coffee on planet Earth. Just visit rivermoonwellness.com or their Amazon store. It's all simple to do. You can check out the Fade to Black blend, the Game Changer blend, or any of their Black Moon Wellness products. It's the only coffee I drink. It is the best, and it's Doc. Again, rivermoonwellness.com. All right. Welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Merry Christmas, everyone. Yeah, it is the season. We've got Christmas coming up in 2 days. Tomorrow's Christmas Eve. Yeah. All right. Merry Christmas, everyone. Tonight, Dave Schrader is with us. It's a very Dave Christmas. And I couldn't think of anything else to call the show. But it is appropriate. Dave Schrader is here. And so, Dave, last night, I'm in bed. I'm listening in the dark to an audiobook, which was Project Serpo, which is a reading of the Serpo website. It's fantastic to listen to. Anyway, so I'm in the dark, eyes are closed, listening to the audiobook. Everything's fine. I'm on my left side facing the speakers, right? And I'm listening, and my eyes are closed. And I'm just like there. I'm relaxed. And on my right hip, I get a boop, a poke. And my eyes pop open, and this is what I said. You got to be kidding me. Now? Really? Seriously? Huh. Man, I pulled the covers back over me, and I, and I laid back down. Nothing happened. But I'm talking to a ghost, man, in the dark. What's going on when that kind of stuff happens? Is it my imagination? Is it real? Is it I'm in between dream state, falling asleep and awake, and it's just, or did a ghost poke me? Oh, you're muted. Unmute yourself.
New guy. Sorry, I've been coughing off and on, so I keep muting myself.
You'll get this radio thing sooner or later.
Yeah, eventually.
Stick with it.
There are many different things that happen physiologically when we're falling asleep, and those little idiomotor movements and twitches. So it's hard to say, because sometimes it'll feel like something's touching you, or you got padded or were falling off the bed and you wake up and you're perfectly fine. Those are just little moments of physiology. Now, if it was paired with the fact that right afterwards you're wide awake and then you hear footsteps cross the room, yeah, you're probably dealing with a ghost. But it's really hard to say. About a year ago, here at home, I had a couple nights where something kept waking me up violently. And one night, it felt like they had their hands on my shoulder blades. I'm a stomach sleeper. And it felt like their hands were on my shoulder blades and they were pumping my back, trying to get me awake. And I sat up and I'm like, knock it off. What do you want? And, I was really irritated. And I talked to a friend of mine. And he said, dude, how do you know you weren't maybe stopping breathing in your sleep? Something was going on and the spirit shook you back out of it. And I was like, wow, I never thought of that. Then I had another friend who said he does a lot of astral projection at night. And he said, maybe you had left your body and you were coming back to your body quickly because you realized something was wrong and you were trying to alert yourself and trying to get back in. And that could have been it. So I don't know. It's fascinating. I can't find one answer that fits, but I love all the different what ifs about it.
I was so angry. I was so angry. I really was. I was like, man, I was getting ready to fall asleep. No, man. But nothing else. It wasn't like a it was a boop. It was like real. It was a real poke.
I don't know if you can do it during the show. I just sent you a video on your Facebook Messenger.
Okay.
But it's from the Palmer house and you talk about being touched by a ghost. The video is about 33 seconds long and it doesn't happen until around the 28-second mark. But we were down in the basement of the Palmer house and there was a gentleman standing inside the furnace room. And there was another gentleman, Carl, outside in the hall filming. And you see what appears to be this spirit hand, like kind of run up his leg. But the fingers, Jimmy, what is really surprising to me are these really kind of weird alien length fingers. And you'll see the fingertips kind of poking out from the door frame on his leg. And then all of a sudden the hand is just out there and runs up. And it starts at about 28 seconds if you've had a chance to see it. And
you send it to another account.
I sent it to the Jimmy Church account.
I don't have it here.
Shoot. Do you want me to send it over to the
email it to me?
Email it. All right. I'll see if I can do that while we're doing the show.
Yeah, do that. Well, that way I can play the audio too. If you email it to me, I'll just.
Yeah, there's really not much audio to it at all. But yeah, I will. I'll try to get that sent over while we're chatting. But yeah, many different things happen. You just never know how it's going to impact or affect things.
I often wonder that maybe when everybody says it's all connected, but the more that I look at all of the phenomena, whether it's UFOs or Bigfoot or ghosts or whatever you want to put a label on, they seem eerily similar to me.
Yeah.
And is it something that is so fundamental that we're all having these experiences, we're seeing and so forth, that it just may be one thing? And then about 2 weeks ago, and it might be 3 weeks ago now, a material scientist, right? Pragmatic, non-spiritual, right? Scientist published, it's in a journal, published a report where she feels that after looking at all of the data, that consciousness is first. And that consciousness is everything first. Matter, mass, space, and time happen after consciousness. That's a revolutionary thing, that consciousness is non-local. Because, in the hard sciences, everybody, consciousness is created from chemistry in the brain, and that's it. Consciousness somehow arises out of that. She says, no, consciousness is first. Now, if that's the case, and I believe that it is, but I'm just glad that a scientist is coming out with a new view on this. If that's the case, then suddenly it explains a lot, doesn't it? It's like, whew, that ends up checking a lot of boxes for everyone when it comes to the paranormal supernatural and UFOs and Bigfoot, crypto, everything comes into play, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it shows just how connected we really are, and the collected consciousness, the collected being, and how people can feel affected and be aware of things like precognitive dreams before they actually happen, like 9/11 and some of the other tragedies where people feel them coming. It would certainly make sense, because that means the consciousness supersedes the physical form and is always on and an alert. Just some people are tuned into a moment and they're able to see it, see the ghosts, see the lights in the sky, see the Bigfoot, have a precognitive moment. So, right, consciousness plays a bigger part. And isn't it interesting that many people that have encountered Bigfoot, many people that have encountered aliens, and many people that have encountered ghosts don't talk about them speaking out loud, but speaking telepathically?
What does that tell you?
It's about
Well, you know what? You know what it tells me? I don't want to be telepathic. I don't want other people to be telepathic. I don't.
You don't want to go to jail for the thoughts in your head, Jimmy?
Yeah. There are certain things that, need to be, yeah. We were talking about Bill Burr earlier, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Bill Burr tells a story. I'm gonna destroy his comedic genius here, but everybody will get the gist of it. Bill Burr says something like, I've said the same thing, he just says it better. We all have the same thoughts as a serial killer. We just don't act on them.
Right.
Yeah,
I firmly believe that. Right. Yeah. I mean, we've all had those moments where we want to jerk the wheel and hit the jerk next to us and push him off the road, but we don't.
I've always wanted to rob a bank. Right? Every time I see a movie, a good one, bank robbery, I'm like, man, that looks like fun. But I don't do it. I just don't do it. Well,
that's the whole thing, right? I mean, that some people react in that moment. That's the whole. That's what I love, like the Batman comics and the Joker. We are all one bad day away from becoming the worst of who we are, right?
Yep. I'm trying to think of that. What's that movie? I think it's with James Woods. It's just one. No, it's Michael Douglas.
Oh, yeah, falling down.
Yeah, falling down. That we are all just a left turn instead of making a right from that being our day. I've never told this story.
Okay.
I'm coming home from work in Burbank, and driving home and into Sherman Oaks. And at the end of my street, I lived right off of Ventura Boulevard, and there was a First Interstate Bank or something on the corner of our street. Anyway, I'm coming up and I see a billion cops, and I'm talking about, when I say there was 100 cop cars on my street, on my corner. And I'm pulling up, and I'm like, man, what the heck is going on here? And I pull out, I got to turn left, and the cop stops and he says, this is a crime scene. I go, listen, man, see that condo, 3rd floor, corner? That's mine. I got to go home. He gets on the radio, let this guy through. And so I'm pulling up the street in front of my condo, and all that I love is a body on my street.
Wow.
And uncovered, by the way. And the police were standing around it and things, and they radioed ahead, and I'm driving, dude, through the crime scene, right? I drive, and I pull into my garage. I go upstairs on the balcony, and I'm looking down at this body. He's on his back. It's a he. And I turn on the TV, and the news is on. I wasn't listening for this, but anyway, it turned out that guy robbed the bank. Yeah.
Wow.
He robbed the bank. And what they said was, so he was shot and killed. He had a gun. And but it was the second time he robbed the bank in the same clothes. So they said, and I'm listening to the TV as I'm looking at the body, and I'm listening to the report, and it's all coming together for me. And the bank tellers saw him walking on the sidewalk up to the bank. They called the police right then. He's back. And so he walks in, the police came in, and so forth. Now, the point is, I had a moment to reflect on all of that. I'm looking at him. I'm thinking about the moment. Did he think that this was his last day on earth? Right? Right?
Yeah.
And what's the difference between where his head is at and where mine is at? What makes somebody go that route? And so I'm tying all this together with the Palmer house.
Mhm.
Now, you mentioned Lucy. Has
Mhm.
anybody been killed in the Palmer house?
We know that there are a few deaths associated with the Palmer house, but it was also, there were coal miners, transients, people that were going through there, people that had no family. And, 125 years ago, you were just cleaned out and they moved on, right? That would be the way of the world. It was a different environment. And, if it was running as a brothel, the people that worked there were just looked at as property. And when it was broken, you tossed it out and you got some more property for that room.
Wow.
So there's a lot of things we don't know. What's really interesting is that over the 24 years that Kelly Freeze, the owner of the Palmer house, had it, she would be in at work and somebody would come in and they'd be having lunch, and all of a sudden they'd come over and they'd go, "Are you the owner?" "Yeah." And they go, "I don't know how you feel about this, but I just had to give this to you." And they'd give her a note and then they'd leave. And she'd read this note and she had a little box of them she kept. And it's like, I don't know what's going on in room 17, but I feel the presence of a woman, very sad. I think she lost her life at the hands of a violent man. And then 2 weeks later, another woman or man would come in and he'd be like, "Are you aware you have a female spirit up in room 17? She's very," and it would one after another of these spirits that would be in the Palmer house. And it's impossible to say where they came from. I also think that some locations become like the bug lamp. They burn brightly and they draw things to them. And when you have so many people coming there, fascinated in this, are you going to stay outside at the old bank where you were a robber and got shot dead in the street? Or are you going to go into the building where everybody's looking to have a moment with you? So I think that in some of these instances, these locations become a magnet and draw energy and spirits to them.
Have you seen Lucy yourself?
I haven't seen Lucy. I have seen SLS camera footage. I have it on my Paranormal 60 page. If you scroll through hours of video, you'll find it. I'll try to shoot it to you so maybe you can share it with the Fader Nuts. But I wasn't sure what I felt about the SLS camera a lot of times. And that camera is the one that, it shows like the stick figure, if it's picking something up, head, shoulders, knees, and toes. And we were in Lucy's room and my friend was sitting in the chair and we were trying to engage his spirits. And all of a sudden the stick figure popped up behind what's known as Lucy's chair. And it walked around and then sat in the chair. And I'd never seen that happen before, the stick figure. And I go, "I think Lucy's here. She just sat down in the chair." My friend said, "Oh, thank you for coming. My grandmother just died a few days ago, and I was really hoping to make communication with the other side." And as she says this thing leans over and starts patting her on the knee like she's consoling her. And we've got it all on video. And then it gets really weird because a few seconds later, another figure pops up behind the chair. Lucy stands up and moves closer to my friend like she's blocking. And this other human figure suddenly jumps to the ceiling like Spider-Man and crawls over the underhang into the other room. And then crawls back out again, turns into a human form on the camera and freezes the SLS camera. I have no explanation for what that was, how it happened, what it was. And I've never seen things move around like that. It's usually they're standing still looking at you in a door frame or near something that I'm questioning. Is it just misreading the door frame? Is it misreading something in the room? I have no explanation for the video that we captured there, but that's the closest I've been to seeing her. I spent that first night in there for those of you that missed it in the first hour, I went to the hotel. The owner was taking me around, telling me about the ghosts, tells me about Lucy, and I had to share the room that night. And I sarcastically said, well, tough, Lucy. I don't care that you don't like men. You get to spend the night with me. And she slammed the door right in front of both of us. And later that night, I had a camera in my room, video camera, and I start hearing pacing, and I'm thinking, man, the person upstairs has got to just go to bed. It's like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, and they just keep walking. And then after a few minutes, I thought, I think I'm on the top floor. I don't think there is a floor above me. And then I realized that the sound was in the room with me. And when I reached for the video camera, the chair is right next to the bed. In Lucy's chair, you very clearly hear this voice go, and that what little hair I had left on my head jumped out and ran away. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
One of the things that I love about you, I don't have the patience that you do. Well, I've never had the opportunities to do this stuff like you do, but you jump into the historical aspect of all of the investigations that you do.
Mhm.
And it's really cool to get the background and everything, but you do it because I don't know if it's your pragmatic side that you don't show publicly that you're a nerd and you want to geek out and get the entire historical breakdown, but people need that, right?
Yeah.
So you're not going into something willy-nilly, but you've been associated with the Palmer House for a couple of decades now. So you have done the Dave Schrader, the Darkness Dave thing, where you've looked at the history and gone back. What did that tell you? And when did it start to get the reputation for being haunted?
Well, that's the whole thing, right? This came into me 20 years ago. Kelly didn't know about it when she bought the hotel, and it started making itself known to her quickly after she moved in. She is the longest owner of the Palmer House in history, 24 years. Every other owner has been in and out pretty quickly, which is strange in itself, right? So I think that's kind of telling. But going back, there are stories and notes and letters from former owners that talk about it. As a matter of fact, I visited for the first time last year. I visited the Historical Society about 2 blocks away from the Palmer House. And I went in and I talked to them. I said, do you guys have any files on the Palmer House? And she's like, oh yeah, we have files. And that's where I found out about the police officer that had been shot, they think outside, or was followed from the Palmer to City Hall where he was shot to death. There was a gentleman that managed the billiard area in the Palmer House who, I don't know what the right terminology is without getting you in trouble, but at the end of a rope is where his life was lost by his own hands. Hopefully that was clouded enough that
Yeah.
But so there were some deaths like that, and here was the documentation I've been looking for. And then, Jimmy, the beautiful part about it is she hands me, those cardboard slides that have 2 photographs, the stereographic photos, and you put them in that little viewfinder.
The Viewmaster. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But no, it's before the
Viewmaster. They had
Viewmaster.
a stereo. It was called something.
Stereographic vision, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Stereo vision.
She goes, check this out. This is one of the oldest pictures when it was the Sauk Center House, the hotel before your hotel. And you see everybody out on the streets, and there's a picture, and there's one man standing outside the side door, and he's standing perfectly still, no movement, but he's completely translucent. You can see through him. It's a lot like that photograph taken at the White House. Have you seen that one?
Yeah,
where they're working in the basement. You just see one guy standing perfectly still, but he's see-through. That's what this is. So she has a photograph all the way back 127 years ago showing a ghost outside the Palmer House. So it's always been there. And then it was great because she goes, look at this. She pulls out this folder, and it was a school project. And the teacher had said they all knew about this Palmer House being haunted back in the 70s and 80s. And he tasked the kids, draw the ghosts of the Palmer House. And the kids drew all these great pictures of these ghosts and spooky things. So I'm actually going to go down there and ask if I can photo scan them all. And I'd like to hang them up in what's known as the children's room at the Palmer House. But yeah, it's always been there. They don't always acknowledge it or talk about it in the past. But since Kelly took over, she's embraced it and allowed it to live. She realizes that they're there for a reason. And why neglect it? Why deny it?
As we were just talking, I just got a text and a phone call from a Ground Zero, Clyde Lewis. They want me to come on the air tonight. They don't realize I'm on the air right now. Yeah, Clyde's. Yeah, man. Yeah, I guess after the show, I might jump on, and it's feeling, here. Let me ask you about it, because we're talking about ghosts and things. At what point did you, because I know you did, where you started to not be a kid and not look at life as being short, and then you get to a certain point where you go, holy crap, it's so short, it's frightening short, and you want to just experience things? It's when you start to see things happen to people around you without using words that will stop this broadcast. By the way,
it was probably about 4 years ago. It really hit me. I've always kind of held on to that childish aspect of who I was, not in the negative sense, but in the, I love the wonder and magic of the world, and I like being a part of it and seeing that. And when my mom passed away, that kind of caught me 9 years ago. Certainly the loss of my father this year, but seeing so many contemporaries, people our age, when I'm looking, and it's no longer old people, it's people my age and sometimes a year or two younger. And within a 5 or 10 year span, you start to realize, oh no, this is a lot more fragile and a lot faster. Jimmy, January 1st, 2026, I will officially be broadcasting 20 years in paranormal radio. And it's like that quick. So I think of all that I've missed. I think of all that I've seen and witnessed. It's very, it's alarming how quickly it goes. So it's part of my youthful life faded about 4 years ago when that started to strike me, and I realized just how vulnerable we really are.
I can't say a whole lot about this, but I'll say what I can without getting in trouble. I'm hosting Beyond Belief now, and I just taped a very special show with George, and a tribute show. And so George and I are sitting there, and he's in the guest chair, I'm in the host chair. Okay, that's difficult enough, right? Like put some pressure on me, right? And but George and I are doing this, and watching his reaction to this, and it's like, This Is Your Life, right? The TV show kind of thing,
right? And
we're going through all of that, and I'm watching his reaction to it. I don't want to, I'm going to stop right there. I will say, when everybody sees this, you'll understand more. But for me, I have to stop and wonder what is going through somebody else's mind at a moment like that. Are you doing the life review? Are you happy? Are you sad? Is it melancholy? Are you, are you grateful? Are you pissed off? What is it that, because one thing that I hear over and over again, I just saw it in a movie, this comment came from somebody where the end was near, said, man, I just want one more day. Yeah. Right. And how important that one more day becomes. You know what I mean? It's not important to you when you're 20. You don't give a shit. Right? It's not important when you're 5.
There's always tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah. There's, and then looking back, it's like the It's a Wonderful Life, where you look back and go, man, I could have spent one more day happy instead of bitching and complaining and being angry and wasting precious time. And it's weird. And now I think about this, where I never had these thoughts before.
Well, I mean, right. This will sound corny, but I think that's why they call right now the present. It's a gift. Every day is a gift, and we have to be in it and be a moment in it. And we're all remiss at doing that, right? I mean, it's just we take it for granted. You know, my dad on the 3rd of July, and this is I think really kind of an interesting little deal. My dad would hang out with his buddies from school, grade school, and they would get together every couple of years and have a big luncheon, and there used to be 20 of them, and they've slowly whittled down, and his friend called him out of the blue and said, "Hey Jim, let's get together on July 3rd." And okay, and the 5 remaining buddies all got together, and they went over to Lou Malnati's in Schaumburg, Illinois, and what was meant to be a 1-hour lunch lasted 4.5 hours. And my dad and his buddy Bone were sitting there on the bench outside having a smoke, talking for a few minutes, and they decided to part ways. And Bone goes, "I'm going to go in and hit the restroom." "All right, Jim, I'll talk to you later." My dad starts to walk away, and Bone said he stopped, and he grabbed the door handle, and he just stopped, and then he turned around and he said, "Hey, Jimmy." My dad turned around and came back, and he goes, "And I just embraced your dad." He goes, "I don't think I've ever done that. I've known him 70 years. And we just hugged. And we said, this was a great day." And he said, "We got to do it again next year." And he left and went home, did the thing he loved the most in the world. He mowed his lawn and then went to bed. And then just, when I got the call the next day from the police and the coroner, they're like, if there's any positive from this, and I know it's tough to see the positive right now, Mr. Schrader, this guy's sound asleep. There's no distress on his face. He didn't see this coming. It was done. He just slipped away like a thief in the night. And I thought, boy, that is exactly what he wanted. When my mom passed away from cancer, we had the long goodbye. So we found out in May, June that she had cancer. She was gone by November. And, my dad suddenly was shaken into adulthood at that point too, and went and put together his will and put together everything. And he told me all the stuff, and everything's in your name now. You're taken care of, blah, blah, blah. And then he goes, "But by the way, if I ever get cancer, I'm not going out like Mom. I'm just going to disappear in the woods." And I go, "No, you're not." And he goes, "What do you mean?" And I said, "Are you crazy? You just told me you signed everything over to me, and then you're going to suddenly go off in the woods, and that's it? I'm going to be on like Forensic Files." He goes, "You love that show." I go, "I love watching that show. I don't want to be on that show."
Right. I just gave up my DNA to Ancestry.com.
Right.
Right.
He was laughing his butt off about that and thought it was hilarious. And then, but it gave him a new perspective. He's like, "Well, I guess I can't do that, can I?" So he went the way he needed to in his sleep. But I have a photograph of him his last day with his buddies at Lou Malnati's. And it's just, to me, it was like the morning I didn't get to say the goodbye like I did with my mom. I was there and held her hand in that last moment. With my dad, I honestly, Jimmy, my dad just turned 80 March. I thought for sure he was going to outlive me. I thought, this is the guy that's going to make it to 115. He smokes, he drinks, he eats whatever he wants to. He looks my dad and I would go to Vegas every Super Bowl, and we'd be playing cards together, and I'd call him Dad or something. And then "Why does he keep calling you Dad?" He goes, "Because I'm his dad." And then they look at the two of us. My dad's got a full head of hair. He's 80 years old and looks like he's maybe 60. I'm 55 and I look like I'm 70. So it was funny. People were like, "There's no way did you have him when you were 5?" So my dad got a kick out of that kind of stuff.
I love that. I love that. I love that.
Yeah. So it's, he lived a great life. He lived doing what he wanted to do. And sometimes that's, we have to remind ourselves of the perspective. When my mom died, Jimmy, I was livid. I was so mad at God. My mom was a nurse. She lived her life serving others, helping others, and then to be robbed of it. She just retired. This was supposed to be her golden years, traveling with my dad, doing all the things she wants to do. She's robbed of it. And I was livid, and I had to go up and give the eulogy. And I was mad, and I was steaming about it. And
did she, I'm going to interrupt your story. Yeah. Did she come to you after she passed?
Not conventionally. No.
Okay. So she did. Did you have to figure, okay, what happened?
Yeah. So with this deal, again, the perspective of it, a friend of mine took me aside and said, "I know you're mad right now, and I know you're upset, why? And I explained it. And he goes, so you're mad that your mom was robbed of time? And I said, yeah. And he goes, you realize your mom did the thing she loved most. She was a nurse who helped children. Look at all of the lives, like It's a Wonderful Life, all of the lives she touched and changed and helped. You're mad that she didn't get to spend time with your dad. Your mom and dad traveled constantly. They went on 2 or 3 trips a year. They saw, I think my mom and dad saw all 50 states. And they loved it. They loved doing that. And he goes, your mom met the love of her life and stayed with him from the day she met him until the day she died. What are you mad about? And it shifted my perspective. And I realized, oh, yeah, man, that's pretty blessed life. That's pretty remarkable. She got to watch her son live his dream and get to do the things he wanted to do and meet the people he wanted to meet and travel the world. And so there was a lot of that that's really powerful in the way that it looks. So that was pretty cool. And it gives you a different perspective. Now with my mom, when she was dying, we talked very openly. And I said, are you afraid? She goes, no, I'm not. And I said, you got to let me know you're okay on the other side. And she nodded and laughed. And after, I told her, Mom, it's okay if you need to let go. I know you're not happy and I know you're in pain if you need to let go. And she was gone the next day. And I dealt with some guilt over that. Because I felt like, oh, should I have not chided her to go on? And then I'm like, that's stupid, Dave. There's nothing left of your mom. She'd withered away. Telling her it's okay, she doesn't have to hold on for you anymore, was a gift, right? I did okay. And I kept thinking, well, you know what? Mom's not really showing herself. I didn't get a dream visitation. And none of that happened. My dad died, and a week later I had a dream visitation. But again, I didn't get to say goodbye. My dad came and said goodbye to me in my dream visitation.
Oh,
my mom
cool.
and I and my dad, that we had a beautiful relationship. I wish everybody had. There was never anything left on the table. We all said how much we loved each other all the time. We always hugged and kissed and I love you too. And there was never anything left behind. We forgave each other. We loved each other. I didn't need them to come forward. I didn't need them to be here anymore. And I've gone out of my way to not call on them. So my mom came to me. So I was on a cruise. I was on the Walker Stalker cruise. I was hired to be the paranormal guy on the final Walking Dead cruise. And I had a necklace with my mom's ashes in it. And I got back and realized the necklace was gone. And I'm like, no. And then I'm like, all right, look at it from another perspective. Your mom loved the ocean. Did it fall off when you were looking over the railing and didn't notice? Okay, then she's in the ocean where she loved to be. Did it fall off when you were on the ship? That's okay. Mom loved to travel. So if she's hidden in a little nook or cranny somewhere, she gets to travel the world on a cruise ship. All right, I'm okay with that. A couple weeks later, I just happened to open up my Facebook. I pulled up my mom's account and I typed her a message. I miss you. I love you. If there's any way to just give me a little sign that you're okay and you're still around, I'd appreciate it. And the next day, my son was looking for his glasses. And he's a little guy, so they're small glasses. And nobody could find them. Oh, we looked. We can't find them. I said, there's a $10 reward. Suddenly, the kids were really motivated to find these glasses.
That works.
And my youngest son comes up to me, and I have these little clay Egyptian jars of life. And he goes, Daddy, look what I found. And I'm looking at him going, buddy, what does this have to do with the glasses? He goes, well, I was looking for Max's glasses in here. And I go, honey, that's too small. And he goes, I know now. And he opened it up and he tips it over and out comes my mom's necklace.
What?
How it ended up in the jar of life, I don't know. But within 24 hours of asking for a sign, I had it happen. So to me, that was pretty powerful. I cannot explain how it got in that jar. And nobody else knew that I'd lost it. I didn't talk to anybody else about it. I just let it be. So it wasn't like they found it. No, let's give this back to Dad. It was just, my son was very innocent, very young. Just look at what I found, Daddy. And he gave me this beautiful gift back. And then, I said, my dad came to me in my dream. About a month and a half ago, I had a really cool experience. I don't let mediums read for me. I don't want to call on my parents. I feel like they did their part while they were here. Let them go where they need to go. And she was doing a gallery session, and I went in and introduced her, and I left the room. And I'm out in the lobby, and for 2 hours, I'm texting with my oldest friend, and we're chatting about stuff. And then I go, hey, I got to go. I've got to go let her know there's only 5-10 minutes left. He goes, all right, talk to you later. I walk in the room. I give her the high sign that there's 10 minutes left. I nod to Kelly, and this was at the Palmer House of all places. And I give the nod to Kelly about what's going on. And as I start to walk out, Diet Renee, the medium, she goes, "Why do I suddenly want to say, hi-oh, Silver?" And I stopped. And I slowly turned around and looked at her. And she goes, "Yeah, I just keep hearing, hi-oh, Silver." And then she looks at me and she sees the shocked look on my face. And she goes, "Is this for you?" And I go, "I don't know." She goes, "This man's heyday, he grew up in the 40s and 50s, which would have been my dad who passed away." She goes, "Now he's doing Elvis and he's talking about Elvis." And it really hits me again. And I'm like, "Okay. All right." And she goes, "He wants to tell you there's a big change coming. There's a big change coming and it's going to be good. And he just wants you to know it's all going to be all right." And I'm like, "Okay." And I'm just holding myself together barely. And I go, "Do you want some corroboration on what this means?" And she goes, "Yeah." And I said, "I've been out there texting my best friend since I was a child. We were 4 or 5 years old when we met, and we're still buddies. He's an artist and he's a musician. And he paints these beautiful statues for people. He does commissioned work. And he was showing me some of the pieces, and he did this beautiful George Reeves Superman and a Lone Ranger. And I said, boy, if I could ever afford to buy one of those, I would want one of those too, but especially the Lone Ranger." And I stopped texting and I hit the voice memo and I said, "My fondest memory was getting up on Sunday mornings to watch the Lone Ranger with my dad." So that's the only message that was voice. And I text, back and forth to him and I go, "So here's the weird thing. There's your Lone Ranger tie." She goes, "Right." I go, "Second thing, you go to Elvis." She goes, "Right." I said, "My friend Rick is an entertainer and a musician whose voice sounds eerily like Elvis. And he sings old 50s and 60s rockabilly songs. And my dad loved him and went to every show he could get to go watch him. He loved him like a son." And I said, "So there's your Elvis connection." And I said, and then in the final bit, you asked me at the beginning of the show, what was my favorite Christmas memory? And for years, I've said this was my favorite memory. The year I was maybe 8 years old, and I made them stop everywhere so I could tell every Santa's helper I wanted the Lone Ranger action figure and Silver. And that Christmas, we were at a family party, and obviously Santa's busy. So one of our dads always had to dress up like Santa for the party because Santa's doing his real work. And that year it was my dad, and he's going through the bag, and finally the bag's empty and they didn't call me up. And I'm like, "Oh no, I was a bad boy." Right. And then he goes, "Oh wait, what's this?" And he reaches down, he grabs a big box and he calls me up and he hands it to me, and I open it up and it's the Lone Ranger and Silver. And my dad used to sing, if you remember when I told you at the beginning, he would wake me up in the morning with the Christmas present, and then he'd start singing Elvis Blue Christmas. So, boom, just those are the messages. Those are the signs. And it just floodgates, man. It was amazing to have that moment.
You know what I never did?
What?
Oh, by the way, when my mom passed and she was paranormal, Ouija, tarot,
Right.
Edgar Casey, that was her thing growing up. Anyway, if anybody was, but she didn't do it when she passed and still hasn't, or nothing overt. Right. But no, I feel like I was cheated.
Well, were you close with your mom, Jimmy?
No.
Okay.
No, I mean, I was when I was young, but after my parents got divorced, I went to go live with my dad. So I only lived with, I was with my mom and dad for like the first 7 years. Then they got divorced. I was with my mom for another year and a half, maybe 2 years, and then went to go live with my dad. So I didn't see my mom ever again. I talked to her, but I never saw her again after that. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm 62. Probably the last time I saw her, I was 10 or something. So we stayed in touch and talked.
Right.
All the way up until the day that she died. I talked to her on the phone. She was in the hospital. So we were close in that sense. It wasn't like I didn't see her again, but we stayed in touch. We stayed in touch. And I really, knowing that I hadn't seen her in 50 years or whatever it was, I really, really wanted, and I kept telling her, I'm serious. I was having these. Mom, do not do anything today. She's been in the hospital for like 2 weeks. I'm flying out there. And so I booked my plane tickets. And by that time, she had been resuscitated like a dozen times.
Shoosh.
Right.
Right.
And she signed a do not order,
Right.
but I kept talking to the nope. I'm her son.
Let me get there. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I was flying out the next day in the morning, and she passed away when I was on the air. I'd spoken to her like 30 minutes before, and I kind of knew. It was funny. She goes, "Let me go, man. I'm serious too." She was like, "I'm tired." It's just, oh man, I keep opening up my eyes and I'm still here, kind of thing. And I felt, I said, "Mom, just let me get out there and see." And I never, no, didn't happen. It didn't happen.
Though she might have done you a service with that. Being at the side of my mom, watching her pass was the toughest thing I've ever done in my life, because you're basically watching somebody slip away and there's nothing you can do about it. You can't dive in and pull them to safety. You can't, kick the wild dogs that are trying to eat her. You can't do anything. You just stand there and let them go. And that gave me PTSD for a number of years. There were times I had trouble falling asleep at night because I would have that memory of the last breath. And that was really tough. So she might have done you a favor. And I think, think about this. How many people are with their loved ones? The loved ones are doing okay. They're hanging in. They're like, okay, we're going to run out to dinner. And as soon as they leave, the person lets go. I think that's part of their choice.
There's something to that. I'll tell you something else that was very strange. For most of my life, I had a lot of dreams about her. Okay, whatever they may be, I'm not going to get into that. But a lot of dreams about her. After she passed, they stopped. They stopped completely. I don't dream about her anymore. And I think I'm not going to wax philosophy or get into some, psycho-analytical thing on this, but the probably because I hadn't seen her, for so many years, that I was dreaming about her and seeing her again. So there's that aspect of it. And after she passed, that possibility was now, and so it was like my brain stopped dreaming about it.
Well, you've heard this as much. You've heard this as much as I have. Time has no meaning on the other side.
Sure.
So let me throw this to you, Jimmy.
Sure.
Maybe you were visited by your mom in dreams your whole life after her death, and she came to you in moments you needed to connect with her.
I've had many friends of mine say that to me, and I can't discount that at all.
Yeah,
it makes a lot of sense. I can tell you, I'm saying with 100% certainty that I have not had any dreams of her since she passed. It's very strange.
Yeah.
Nothing intentional. It's just having dreams about her wasn't intentional. That's just stuff that happens. Right. But really, really weird. My dad, never really dream about him. He's dead now. And
you might, but I often think this too. Part of what drives me in this field is I've died twice. And I have no memory of a white light or friends and relatives coming to greet me, Jesus welcoming me with, loaves and fishes. There was nothing. And then I was back. And I often thought, well, wow, that sucks. How come everybody else gets these great moments? And then I think, listen, dummy, you were suicidal as a teenager. It almost happened again when you were in your mid-20s. Maybe you do have these moments where you get the clarity, you get the visits, you get the answers you need. So they're in here subconsciously. I think if the world knew for a fact there is something else afterwards, we all like to comfort ourselves and believe it. But if we knew it, I think that we would see a huge changeover on this planet, if you know what I mean. Because if
for
people
sure.
knew they could hit the reset button, I think we would see that. If they knew for a fact they could come back, or that there was someplace else to be, there would be reset buttons being pushed all around the world simultaneously.
I like to come back as a lion, a male lion.
Not me. I just want to come back as my daughter's cat. No animal gets more affection than my idiot daughter's cat, or not my idiot daughter, my daughter's idiot cat is what I meant to say.
Man, there's something about a cat's walk when their shoulders, you
Right.
know what I mean? They do that.
The Jim Morrison.
Yeah. Totally. The other part about this is, if somebody, we were talking about grandchildren earlier, right?
Right.
You have certain rights as an adult. And I think that one of the other rights that everybody talks about is your parents go, you get to visit at the foot of your bed. These are things that, you hear about so often that you look forward to it. Okay, yeah, they're going to depart this earth, but there's another part about this that a little side benefit, a little side hustle. That is getting the visit, at the foot of your bed. And I thought, if anybody was going to do it, my crazy ass mom would figure out a way, and she didn't. Now, maybe, I don't want to offend anybody here, but maybe she just doesn't give a shit. She lived her life, if you know what I'm saying. I'm not saying this in an offensive way, negative way. She moved on, man. Earth is in her rear view mirror.
Yeah. And that very well could be. Or
yeah,
she'll be there at the end for you. And that'll be when she's standing at the end of your bed, which is what a lot of people have happen. I talked to the hospice workers where my mom passed, and many of them said that there'd be times they'd be working on something, and they'd look up and there'd be the woman standing out in the hall. And then it'd be like, you need to go back to bed now. And then they would alert the doctors that that patient had passed. And I go, well, you just saw her in the hall. And they're like, yeah, she's hooked up to IVs and things. We saw her in the hall. We saw her spirit. And we'd walk in, and sure enough, she was gone. So a lot of these people, though, they said that when the end is coming, they'll start seeing things and seeing people and having that. And there are some people, it's called a shared death experience, where somebody's close. You might be holding hands with mom at that moment, and she starts to see grandpa. She starts to see
tell
grandma.
me that was you. That was you, right?
Well, what?
Don't say what. That noise.
I didn't hear anything.
Dave, do not mess with me. Did that
I'm
come
not
from in
messing
here?
with it, Jimmy. What'd you hear?
Man, Clyde Lewis is calling me again. Hang on. I'm going to do this live on the air. Hey, listen, man, I'm live on the air. I'll be off the air in 2 minutes. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll come on. All right? I appreciate it, man. Thank you. Okay, bye. All right.
It was the herald.
What was that? What was that noise?
I don't know. What did it sound like? I can't tell you.
Okay. Okay. Look at these. Okay, here you go.
That was loud. Bunker ghost.
I heard that. I heard it. Pop. You. It wasn't your chair. No. I heard it. I heard that, and I'm just clicking through. They're saying it came from my room. It was loud, man.
I did my Christmas show last night, and I had people telling me that they could hear whispering coming through my microphone while I was doing the show.
No, this was like a door slam. It was like, pow.
Yeah.
But I don't see anything out of place. It was loud, man. What the hell?
It's your mom, Jimmy. She's stopping by to say hello.
Heard it in my head. I heard it in my headphones, so I thought it came from you. You're saying you didn't hear anything or nothing?
No, I don't know what you're reacting to. But everybody else seems to think it came from behind you.
All the guitars are up. No, everything's normal in here. It was loud, man.
Jimmy Church, nothing's ever normal around you. Come on.
What the heck? That's nothing's moved in here. Nothing has moved.
But then you got a call a second later from our buddy Clyde Lewis.
That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. It was loud, like loud. I can't explain it, like a slamming door or it was loud, but there's nothing. I didn't see anything.
Up
my heart's
on the
pounding.
roof.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Here comes good old Santa Claus.
Too much. All right. Where can everybody go and check out the Palmer House?
Check out thepalmerhouse.com is the best way to keep up, or check out my website, pixty.com, to keep up on my podcast and radio show and all of the cool stuff I'm a part of. So, Jimmy, Merry Christmas to you, my friend.
Merry
and
Christmas,
Happy New
Dave.
Year.
Thank you, man. Love you, brother. And
Love you too,
now I've got to go do a ghost hunt. Thank you for that. See,
Give my love
it's your
to Clyde.
fault, man. It's your fault. It's your fault. Dave, love you, man. Merry Christmas to you and Winnie and your 22 kids. And just have fun. Love you, man.
All right. Take care.
Dave Schrader. Perfect night here on the show. I don't know what that was. There's nothing out of place. I heard it, and that was pretty nuts. I got nothing. All right, everybody. Merry Christmas. Just have an amazing holiday. Christmas Eve tomorrow, Christmas Day, going into the holiday weekend. Be safe, have fun, and much joy to you, your family, and friends. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. I'll see everybody right back here on Monday. But until then, go Beckley Tappy. Fade to Black is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee Newman, and Michelle Freed. Special thanks to Bill, John, Dex, Jessica, Dennis, and Kevin. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music by Doug Aldrich. Intro, Space Boy. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network. This broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2024 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network, Inc. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Go Beckley Tappy.